Welcome back, everyone, to the Stogie Geek Show. It's our Stogies of the Week segment, and it's brought to you by Saga Cigars, makers of the Saga Golden Age. The Golden Age is a cigar that takes you back to the classic days of cigar smoking. Through the 6 generations of experience by the Reyes family, the Saga Golden Age delivers a timeless blend that uses the nobility of the tobacco to bring you the perfect balance of power and flavor. It narrates better than words the history of a family's tradition in tobacco, delivering a cigar much like the ones they used to smoke in the times of Hemingway. The Saga Golden Age is a full-bodied, full-flavored Dominican Puro. With tobaccos from one farm, the blend features a Corojo 2006 wrapper and filler from original Cuban seeds grown in the Dominican Republic. Available in 4 sizes at an affordable price, the Saga Golden Age is sure to please you and take you back to a journey to yesteryear. And by A.J. Fernandez New World. Cigar connoisseurs are already raving about this exquisite cigar, which pays homage to Christopher Columbus's discovery of tobacco during his expedition of the New World. This medium to full-bodied cigar shows off the kind of exquisite construction that is expected by master blender A.J. Fernandez. This gorgeous box-pressed cigar features a dark, chocolate brown Nicaraguan wrapper that houses a blend of Ometepe, Condega, and Esteli filler that is bound with a jalapa binder. Once lit, the perfectly balanced and refined New World gives off a beautiful billow of smoke and hits you immediately with some spice and citrus flavors. As you begin to lose yourself in the rich aromas of the New World, the flavors become more complex and begin to express hints of hazelnuts and coffee. New World is a first-time collaboration between AJ and his father, Ismael Fernandez, which really makes the cigar stand out in the AJ Fernandez line. To commemorate this union of father and son, AJ is offering you this masterpiece at around an MSRP of $6, unheard of for a cigar of this caliber. AJ Fernandez invites you to embark on the journey and smoke what he guarantees to be one of the most talked about cigars of the year. The New World, Cigar Journal's #1 cigar of the year. Welcome back, everyone, to the Stogie Geek Show. This is our Stogies of the Week segment. Just a couple of notes. Saga Cigars will be in New England next week and in studio.
John Michel Louis from Saga will be here.
Very nice.
Who's a real interesting guy. I think folks will really like him.
And I have another note here. Will AJ Fernandez's New World Connecticut announced? Is that the...
It has been announced.
Okay.
And we should be getting someone from AJ on in the next few weeks. Nice. So stay tuned.
So, Will, I'm going to go over to you for Stogie, your first Stogie of the week.
Well, yeah, and there was a reason. I'm glad we did Debonair Ideal first because this one kind of ties in a little bit with it. So remember Seth from Seth's Humidor gave us an Unbanded? Yep, so really the story was when I went to go actually open that humidor that had the mold damage, it was to smoke that cigar. And,
oh, no.
And that cigar was damaged. However, I talked to Seth, and I've smoked that cigar actually pretty recently. So, do you remember? Okay, let me tell you about what I got out of this cigar, and then we can kind of, and I'll tell you what I know what the cigar is. I got a real interesting flavor out of this cigar. It was I got almost like a lemony sweetness from this cigar. I got some floral notes, and I got some spice. There was a lot of nice sweetness that came from this cigar, but it was a subtle lemon note that I kept getting from it. I should say I've smoked it, so I know what it is. I'll give you a hint. Where do you think that cigar was from?
Not Cuba.
Not Cuba is correct.
Yes.
That's
my only guess.
If you had to pick a country.
Dominican Republic.
No. There is a little Dominican tobacco in it.
Nicaragua.
No.
Honduras. Okay, I went with the most popular countries in order, just to maximize my chances.
And it's got. I'll give you a little bit of a hint. It's got a mix of Dominican and Honduran filler. It's got a Honduran binder and a Ecuadorian Habano wrapper.
I still know what it is, Will.
Okay. The answer is it was a Room 101 Namakubi Roxo.
Really? Interesting.
Yep. I had it as a box. I love that little stick. That's a box worthy.
No, I think it's a great cigar. Yeah.
That's the cigar I think. And Matt Booth, by the way, is scheduled to be on the show on the 28th.
Well, and that's usually a pretty boring interview. So
yeah.
I don't know why
if you thought Caldwell was was fun, stay tuned. So yeah, we'll.
I tell you what though, I've interviewed hundreds of people between both shows, both podcasts that my computer security podcast and this show. And I don't mean this any disrespect to the other guests that we interview, right? But Matt Booth is one of the most interesting and entertaining interviews. I mean, talk about not knowing what's going to come next in an interview. Matt Booth takes the cake, dude. And I've interviewed hundreds of people.
Yeah, I remember when you said we're chucking the script at this
We
point.
we'll prepare questions, but I mean, those get thrown out the window after the first one. So,
Yep.
yeah. I smoked a Saga Cigars blend number 7. This is the double torpedo.
Yep.
This was pretty good. I would give it a 5. I thought the other blend number 7 that I had, which I believe was a Robusto or a Toro, was better flavor-wise. This size, just the way the flavors were presented, didn't hit me as much as the other one, but it's still worth a 5. I really like this blend. I think it's a good medium-bodied, good flavorful smoke.
Yep, I agree. I like it's an interesting cigar. I haven't smoked that shape yet. I have to still smoke that shape.
Yeah, I'm curious what you think of this shape.
Yep, I have it. I know I have it. But yeah, that's an the two Saga cigars are very different actually.
Very different. Yep, absolutely. Yep. Back to you, Will.
As long as I'm going to jump ahead one in my list because we're talking about Saga. I actually smoked the Golden Age Toro this week. Now, I actually had a chance to smoke the Golden Age cigar at the trade show in the booth where Saga Cigars was. And I remember smoking this, and it was one of those cigars I kind of, when your palate shot, I got some good flavors from it. But you mentioned this a couple weeks ago. This is a cigar you want to have on a fresh palate. There's no because you're not gonna. You'll get a lot more out of this cigar with on that fresh palate. So this is the Dominican Puro using a Corojo 2006 wrapper. And I thought they're positioning that cigar as a throwback cigar to yesteryear, and I could see it. There's some very woody notes in this cigar. There's some cedar. You get that natural tobacco, so it is a little bit throwback. I got a real interesting sweetness, and the Toro actually was one of my favorite sizes. Actually, I thought it did well with this blend. I got a little bit of this berry sweetness. It wasn't very prominent, but it was subtle enough where I kind of looked at this cigar and I said, well, yeah, there's some throwback, but that berry sweetness almost gave it a little bit of a cigar that you could smoke, the modern day smoker can have and enjoy. It's a definite cigar that I would say it's probably about a medium strength, but towards the end, I got a little strength on that cigar. I was a little surprised that
there is a kick at the end. Yep.
Yeah, there was a little kick at the end of that cigar. I had it as a box split. I think that the Toro has been my favorite size right now of that Saga Golden Age blend.
Cool. Speaking of cigar for yesteryear, I smoked a Nat Sherman Host Robusto. This is the one where I smoked the Churchill a couple of weeks ago. And I went back and I smoked the Robusto. And this is, again, a very classic tobacco flavor profile on this cigar. The flavors were more concentrated and it was a little more amped up in strength. So I'm going to recommend this cigar to people who like a little stronger Connecticut in the morning. I think this cigar will suit your palate. I think in the end for me it was a 5, and I actually enjoyed the larger size better.
And it had a little bit of that sweet. Is this the one with the sweet tip?
And it's got the sweet tip, which I tell you what, probably out of all the sweet tip cigars I've smoked, this one's the most enjoyable because it's not overdone, but it's sweet enough where you kind of benefit from that and taste it a little bit. It's very nice. It's very nice.
There was a point I was smoking a lot of these when I first started out, and I was living up in New Jersey. And I used to get these up. I used to go into the townhouse in New York, and I was smoking these. I remember it, and it's a good value price cigar too. It is. And they got some great. We've talked a lot about their blends. These are some of the I call pre-Michael Herklotz cigars, and they're good cigars. And Mr. J's is carrying these now, correct?
Yes, that's where I got this one. Is Mr. J's?
Yep. So no, I agree. I would agree with that assessment.
Very cool. Back to you, Will.
Okay. The next cigar I have is one of my cigars I did with Blind Man's Puff, and it turned out to be, and I actually wouldn't have guessed it, but I had smoked. You and I have smoked these. It was a cigar by Hammer and Sickle. It's the Hermitage No. 1 in the Churchill size, and It was interesting. I think I was a little harder on this cigar than a lot of the others that reviewed this. I actually think I had one of the lower scores that came out with that. Much of my reason for the lower score was I did have some Paul syndrome along the way. I had a very problemsome burn, and I had a crack along the way too. The crack wasn't I don't know. It was like once I got past the crack, I think it just kind of it kind of added on to you know being a problemsome cigar. So the flavors were pretty good. It had some notes of cocoa sweetness, earth. It had an interesting, I call green pepper note in there, which I thought was pretty interesting. It's a bit, I've smoked this blend, and I think in the Churchill, and we talked about this last week. There's points where it's a 7x56, and that's a big boy, and it runs out of steam. This is one of those cigars that ran out of steam in the second half. I put it overall as a try one. It probably would have been like a try two. I don't think it would have, without the problems and burn. I don't think it's quite a fiver. I think it's better in some of the other sizes. But again, this was a blind cigar. I had no idea that this was the Hematejiza when I smoked it. I would have never guessed it, even though I'd smoked this cigar before.
Very cool. Let's see. I smoked the Tatuaje, the Jekyll. This came actually next door from the Havana Cigar Club. They're running their daily special on Tatuaje. And I decided this time, and you'll hear me talk about them, I really diversified my portfolio and grabbed some different stuff from Tatuaje to give it a shot. I wanted to see how this one was doing aging-wise. The first, probably third, almost half of the cigar was really enjoyable. Very, very smooth profile. Very, very flavorful. The second half kind of, it wasn't all there for me, It didn't finish well. Not that it was bad. It just the second half wasn't as good as the first half. It had a lot more dynamic flavors, nice almost creaminess in the first half. It amps up in strength and kind of loses some of that creaminess and a little bit of flavor I found in the second half. So for that, I'm calling it a fiver.
Had you smoked this cigar before?
Yeah, I think I smoked this when it first came out. I had to have reviewed it when it first came out.
Okay.
I don't think there's been a Halloween release that I haven't reviewed, and certainly the newer ones I review when they come out.
Yeah, because I really enjoyed it. Did you notice this using that L'Atelier Sancti Spiritus wrapper on it? Yeah, which sometimes I've just found gets better over time. But I haven't. I smoked the Jekylls when they first came out, and I haven't revisited them yet.
Yeah, I think they're getting better, and I think they're going to continue to get better. I imagine that second half's going to, really come into its own with some more age. And don't forget, these only have, 6 months of age on them, so.
Yep.
Yeah, it was good. And, you get money off when you buy, when it's Tatuaje Day next door, you get money off. And you get an extra 10% off if you buy 5.
Yeah.
So I figured out their strategy. Certain brands are on the daily rotation, and you get 10% off. Other brands are on a monthly rotation, and you get 5% off. And I think the minimum for both is you have to buy 5.
Still a great deal.
It's a great deal. So there's always some kind of special going on next door, which they're doing it right. I think it's great.
Yeah, I think you could check out their Facebook page and social media. I think, is it Brenda who's putting those out there?
Yeah, Brenda's usually putting it out there on Facebook. And, if you get the 10% off, that's on top of your member discount. So it ends up being a really good price. So, when Elohio and Tatuaje come up, I almost always buy 5 when they come up in their regular rotation because it's such a good price, and I end up just smoking them. So, back to you, Will.
I smoked a cigar which is called the Charlie Tarano Captiva. So this cigar it was launched at the trade show last year. It was a cigar it is a cigar named for Charlie Tarano, who ran Tarano Family Cigars. And they were, that was their centerpiece launch, so to speak. And then, as you know, Tarano Cigar Brands was sold to General. And this release was kind of put on hold for a while.
Interesting.
So it didn't come out. It came out earlier this year. It started making its way to a few places, and I actually smoked both pre-releases and now I've smoked since it's been released the Captiva and the Robusto. It's an I don't know. There's not much about the blend. It's an Ecuadorian wrapper. I'm assuming it's a Habano wrapper. It seemed like it was, and it's a Nicaraguan filler. They don't talk a lot about the binder. Um, this cigar, you know, um, I would not give it to Stogie Santa. And um, it was a real disappointment. It was as Stogie said, it was just a cigar, just like we would say. It had some natural tobacco wood and white pepper notes. It had no wow factor. It did not hold my interest. It was well made. Maybe there's someone. I was really disappointed with this cigar, to say the least. And there was just, like I said, it was not. I just felt the flavors didn't even mesh well together. There was not a lot in complexity. It was missing something. What it is, I don't know. I gave it an angler, and I think I was kind on that.
Really?
So
Wow. And you never angler a cigar, dude.
I haven't anglered many. It's an angler.
Is it an
I
angler
don't- I
or
don't-
is it you're out fishing and you throw it off the side of the boat, Will?
it wasn't a cigar I would throw off the boat. I think Stogie Santa would. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it kept my. I smoked it to the end. It wasn't horrible, but it was really uninteresting. And I kind of, yeah. I mean, I kind of feel bad saying this because I like the Tarano guys. This one just was a big miss in my book with this one. Is what I would say. So I don't know. I don't know what General's plans are going. I mean, they released it. I don't know what their plans are with the Tarano brand going forward, but I think they could do better. I mean, this one probably, like I said, I smoked the pre-release, which I got from Tarano, as well as once it was shipped by General.
So I went to kind of an old standby, and I spent a lot of money on a cigar. I spent $18 for a La Aurora Cameroon Preferido. I think the number 1 is the largest sized in that line. Because I was just jonesing for some Cameroon, and these cigars are just awesome. I mean, the shape, coupled with that Cameroon wrapper, just has this wonderful flavor and wonderful transitions, incredibly complex, very expensive, but I think well worth it. These cigars are pretty good fresh. I mean, I gave this a box split rating, but I'm going to couple that with make sure you have some of these to age. And that's kind of why I have the box split. That coupled with the price point and some aging, you want to take some of these, you want to put them away and smoke them as you go. I've had some of this blend that's been aged, and they're Oasis level almost when they're aged. So fresh out of the box is box split for me. It's just an awesome, medium bodied, full flavored, awesome Cameroon wrapped cigar. Lasts for a long time. Like I said, that shape contributes to the overall change-ups that persist throughout. So
I like that, and I like that bigger shape, actually. I think it does. I think sometimes, I know when I've had the Black Diamond, my big complaint on that, it's small.
Yeah.
And I wish they would come out with that in a bigger Preferido.
although the smaller Preferido Cameroons, like the one that comes with the blending kit, is out of this world too. I think those are almost better fresh than some of these. And this may have been just the box that may have just been pretty fresh in there, But these things age tremendous. This is like one of my top aging cigars because they don't age out, and that Cameroon wrapper just puts off so much sweetness, and just more and more as it ages.
Yeah, it's a good. It made me think of something actually, and I forgot to tell you this, but I'll mention it on the air. One of your favorite manufacturers is actually planning on launching a Cameroon at the trade show.
EP Carrillo?
No. Christoph.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it's
Because
something
I do like Christoph stuff.
I know you do, yeah. And I thought of that. I'm like, God,
And they make some interesting stuff, and that's going to be an interesting. I'm definitely going to smoke that.
Yeah, Glenn hasn't done a Cameroon yet, so I thought I'm like, yeah. When I saw that cigar, it was a good reminder to me.
Yep. Back to you, Will.
So I went and smoked I smoked a cigar from Nomad, the Nomad C276. I actually started smoking these before I went to Honduras, but I had another one when, based on you had reviewed the 8613, the lot 8613 last week. And why I went back and smoked this one is because that 8613,
I
Fred
think
was using that
1863?
8613.
It is an 8613. Okay.
It is 8613, yeah. So the C276, the reason why I went back and smoked it is because it's using that Ometepe tobacco, which is in that 8613. And Fred seems to really like that tobacco since he started playing with it. And the C276 is actually a cigar he meant to be a little more of a fuller cigar. He doesn't really have that. He doesn't have that in-your-face cigar.
No.
You know, he doesn't have that full
No, he
strength,
never
full-bodied
did.
cigar. And this one's not going to be that. Okay, it's more on the medium plus in terms of strength and body, but it's definitely the fullest offering he's got and the strongest offering he's got. So it does fill that niche in the portfolio. But it's not an in-your-face cigar by any means. It was a cigar when I smoked it last summer. I wasn't getting it, and I think it was young. That's just my perception. And I kind of tabled it for a while. I went back and revisited it about a month ago, and I'm really enjoying this cigar. It's got a great milk chocolate note. It's got a little bit of that nut taste to it. It's got some cedar and black pepper. The spices do kick in a little more in the last third of that cigar. But it's a cigar that I think definitely benefited, and I've noticed this with a couple of Fred cigars. They really age well. And this one, I think, was from the batch I got last summer. I had them in the humidor, and they aged really, really, really nice. I found this cigar now was a lot smoother. It was a lot tamer, and I got a little more complexity out of it, which I wasn't getting when I smoked these back in August. So I have it as a box split, and I think this could even continue to get better. Excellent. It was an excellent cigar by Fred.
Awesome. So I went back to the Aroa. Is there a better name for this one other than just the Aroa?
It's the Aroa Natural. I guess it's the Aroa Natural now.
The Aroa Natural. And this is a short Robusto? I want to call it a short Robusto. I didn't have a chance to look up the exact size. I think it's the smallest one in their portfolio for this line of cigars. It's one that we've talked about on the show in the past when they first came out. This is the Honduran Puro from Aroa. And these are still awesome. They're mild enough where you could have them in the morning like I did. They have this great kind of wood note, a little bit of spice. It's just such not your typical Honduran, full of flavor. Just a wonderful cigar. This is definitely a box split in my book, maybe even box worthy. And I think these are going to age well as well. I find Honduran tobacco ages pretty well. Yep. You know, a lot of the older Honduran stuff, like Camacho, older Camacho stuff, really good. And this is one certainly in that category. They did a fantastic job with this blend. Burn and Construction's awesome on every single one that I've smoked. So, yeah, great cigar. One to revisit for sure.
You know, it's funny. I didn't put this in my Smokes of the Week last week, but I actually had reviewed this on Cigar Coop again on April 12th. And so it's kind of funny in the Robusto size. And I totally agree with you on that cigar. It's got such a smoothness. It's unlike any other Honduran cigar I've had.
Yeah.
There's a lot of complexity going on with that cigar too. I found, especially it's one of those again. You want to smoke it.
Earlier in the day. I agree wholeheartedly with that. Yeah.
Because you will definitely really enjoy it. But I actually, you know, I know that the second Aroa, the CBT, got all the buzz and the love. Mm-hmm. I think it got more love and buzz last year, the Maduro, than the Natural did. And I like the Maduro, but the Natural, hands down, I think is the better cigar.
Yeah. Well, what I want to do now is take a short break, and I want to come back and finish our Stogies of the Week segment. So with that, we're going to take a short break, come right back. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere.